What's going on, everybody? It's Professor Gnome, and we're back finally, and we're going to be taking a look at Gengar EX and the Gnawing Curse ability. I try to make an updated Gengar list like once a format, and since the new set is about to release in a couple days, I wanted to make sure that I got Gengar out. It's one of my favorite Pokemon of all time, so I want to make sure that I'm keeping the deck kind of as relevant as I can and up to date. So for anyone who doesn't know the card, it does have the Gnawing Curse ability, where what it does is that every time your opponent plays an energy card from their hand to one of their Pokemon, you put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. That combos really nicely with the Tricky Steps attack, where what it does is 160 damage, and then you get to move an energy from your opponent's Pokemon to one of their bench Pokemon. This can be really frustrating. On top of that, what we get to do is also run the Handheld Fan, where if our opponent attacks us, we also get to move an energy off. So we get to be really annoying with a lot of energy manipulation. On top of that, we also run 2 copies of Pokemon League Headquarters. This is really good in specific matchups, things like Raging Bolt. For example, it's very big, since most often than not, if we can play that down, our opponent really struggles to get attacks off. Since we're moving stuff off, they can Vitality, but they don't really play Energy Switch all that often. So even after a Vitality and they manually attach, if it's not a completely powered up Raging Bolt, then they still won't be able to attack and do anything. We're moving energy off, so it really helps in that matchup a lot. And a couple other matchups, things like Regidrago, after they use some pieces, like we can mess with them. Pokemon League Headquarters is also really nice. It doesn't really affect the Regidrago matchup, but like I said, it affects the Raging Bolt matchup and a couple other things like Lost Box and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the deck for the most part. It runs a pretty simple engine. One of the things that also made it a lot better is the Pecharunt EX with the subjugating change. It makes it so we can always get our Gengars rotated and switched around, which is very nice, as well as we can run Radiant Alakazam to be able to move damage counters around, just be as annoying as possible. For our A-Spec of choice, I prefer to run the Unfair Stamp, but you definitely can run things like the Neo Upper Energy or a couple other options as well, Hero's Cape, things like that. Personally, I prefer Unfair Stamp because, again, we're just trying to be as annoying as possible to our opponent. We also run Devolution, since that's a huge tool, since we don't always do a ton of damage, but we definitely can kind of stack up damage counters, so it's nice to be able to drop, specifically in things like the Charizard matchup. It helps out a lot. We have Evolution to help speed up our early game, and the last kind of like minor thing for the deck that you could change if you want to, I currently run the Dark Gastlys with the single energy retreat. It doesn't really make dramatic difference. Sometimes it's nice because you can still target them with the Janine Secret Art, another great card for this deck that we got in this format. But you could run the Psychic type Gastlys as well. They're 40 HP with no retreat, so they're kind of nice. The only thing is you can't Janines to them, so, you know, if that's something you're not too worried about, I would recommend switching them out. Personally, I like just having it as an option, but if you would prefer to run it with the no retreat cost, that's also totally reasonable as well. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck or any changes that you would make or how you're running it. I love Gengar and I want to be able to show it off, so this will be a deck that I definitely keep updated for a while. And yeah, be sure to let me know what you think of the list. Be sure to let me know any changes or alterations you would want to like or that you would make, and be sure to let me know what you want to see in the new Tundra Crown. What is it called? Stellar Crown, something like that. I don't remember what the set's called. But in the new set coming out, let me know what you want to kind of see featured on that, so I can have an idea of what to cover first with that deck. Lastly, for all those, you know, little announcements and stuff like that, I want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that added level of support. It really does mean a lot, and I do really appreciate it. And I definitely want to get back to consistent uploads. I know I say that a lot, but, you know, life is really busy. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Be sure to join the community Discord in the description down below, and be on the lookout for our next community Discord tournament, which will probably be in like a week or so. I just gotta wait for my schedule to kind of settle down before I start that back up. But yeah, that's kind of it for all the announcement stuff. I will see you guys all in game 1 in a moment. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 1, and we'll see what we get. We are going to mulligan here, as is our opponent. We do not get much. We are up against Toadscruel, though. So, kind of interesting. Obviously, just opening pure Rotom is not ideal, but at least we get to go second, so we can just play Iono, get ourselves a new hand, and kind of go from there. We'll definitely be struggling a little bit, though. Potentially. Alright, our opponent's hand is also Cheeks, so that helps us, and we do get Gastly. So, we'll be able to play that, play the energy down. The Iono could potentially help them, but we have to make the play that's in our best interest, which is attempting to get a little bit better off in this game. We get another Gastly, we get ourselves the Bidoof, and we have the Arven for later. So we'll go instant charge here, where we get the Rare Candy. That's super big for us, because at this point we can go Arven for a Seal Stone. Alright, so they Iono us back. We'll see what we get off that. That's still okay. We have Bidoof, we have another Gastly in play. We can utilize Radiant Alakazam if we need to. Alright, pretty big Pokestop for them. But we definitely need to start getting something going for ourselves here. So we see a Haunter. We'll evolve. We can play down Bibarel. I'm not really worried about having Radiant Alakazam in this matchup. Things are going to be a little bit too high of HP to really deal with. So what I'm going to do is go Ultra Ball, get rid of this, and get rid of this. Grab myself the Gengar in advance, so that way I have that. Then what I can do is go for the Industrial Incisors, where I find another Gengar, which is not really what I wanted. I'm going to Pokestop here, see if I can get myself something useful. I don't, and I actually lose out on a lot of things I really would have wanted, aka the Seal Stone specifically. So from now, I'm going to go ahead and Boss Trap the Chansey, mostly because I have to. If Fezandipiti gets one more energy on it, it's going to start just sniping my bench. And I really don't want to have to deal with that, and I don't want to have to put Manaphy down on my board right now. So I do get the Rare Candy, though. That's actually pretty big. I can Rare Candy to Gengar, switch in the Pecharunt, and go from there. They see another energy switch. There's the Night Stretcher that can pick up the Chansey, or sorry, the Blissey, which is still fine as long as it's stuck in the active, though I do believe they picked up a switch earlier on, if I remember correctly now. An energy switch. I thought they picked up a regular switch, but I guess it was just energy switches. I mean, if they attack into the Rotom, that's totally fine by us. We have the ability to also pick it up with Turos and save ourselves some prize cards, so that's pretty much fine with us. We also see Janine's Secret Art, which is fine for later, but you don't really need it right now. We'll bring the Gastly in. We'll go Rare Candy, evolve the Gastly into our Gengar, throw the energy down. We'll be able to evolve the one on the bench. And then from here, we'll go Nest Ball. We can grab a Manaphy at this point, though it won't really be that relevant now that we have things like more powered up. Honestly, I don't really want any of this. I obviously want Fezandipiti, but not right this second. So I can leave that and just get it out of my hand to be able to draw a little bit more with Bibarel. We find a Haunter, which is definitely pretty nice. And on the next turn, we'll have a new Gengar powered up. We can go Tricky Steps here, where we attack. We're not going to move any of the energy, though. we can let Blissey attack into us. It's not really a big deal. Even if we move the energy, the Happy Switch is going to just kind of move it back into place anyway. So it's not going to make that big of a difference as of right now. I like the concept of this deck though, but I don't know how like good it would actually be. Like I feel like you're better off just playing Ogerpon and Toadscruel rather than using Blissey with it. Like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's just kind of the better option. That's the other thing too. I didn't talk about this because I kind of like forgot to bring it up. But one of the pretty cool things, so there's a switch, but that's not really all that like big of a deal. One of the things that's actually pretty cool about Gengar is that it doesn't just mean when you manually attach, like for your once a turn. It also comes up for things like Ogerpon, where whenever they use their ability to attach, you get to do that additional damage. So if we're able to get ourselves into a third Gengar here, which we can do by just dropping the Ultra Ball, getting rid of the Rotom and whatever else we pick up, we'll be able to do a bunch of different, like, we'll be able to do a lot more damage. It's actually going to be nice if we can get ourselves into the Rescue Stretcher. We can pick up the Alakazam here and knock out one of these. But for now, what we'll do is go Ultra Ball, get rid of this and this, grab ourselves our other Gengar. We can place that down, go Janine's Secret Art, attach to our benched Pokemon. It should just auto-attach. I shouldn't have to pick which one because it's the same thing regardless of what I pick. We can place the energy down. We have a fully powered up Gengar all over again. We can go Industrious Incisors here, where we get ourselves a couple pretty useful pieces. Not anything we need like right this second, but we'll be able to Nest Ball out the Fezandipiti later, so we can hold on to that. We can go Tricky Steps to knock out the Blissey, and we don't really need to bother moving the energies, since again the Happy Switch is going to just place it back on whenever we do, so it's better just to have it in the discard pile. We do get another Gastly, so we can start to power that up as well. So that's nice. As well as another Janine's, but the Janine's is much less relevant. We will be able to Dark Patch, so that's good for us. And also I have a mild, like, seasonal allergy cold, so my apologies on the sniffling sound. But what's nice is, like, we're gonna drop 60 damage here from the Gnawing Curse, since it stacks for every Gengar. And same thing, like, if they put 2 energies down onto this, we're gonna be in a great position. So overall, like, we're in a pretty good spot. Not sure why they manually attached to the Fezandipiti, if I'm honest. So that put that in range that we can Boss's Orders the Fezandipiti up, knock that out, and kind of remove that as a problem. I understand that they attached manually to this so that way they can get more damage off the Toadscruel, because you need, you know, as many energies as possible. But you're not going to be able, unless they get themselves into Blissey, where they can Happy Switch one of these onto it, and then, yeah, you wouldn't even need to, you wouldn't even be able to do it, because you have to manually attach onto this as well in order to get an attack off this turn. Right, they have energy switches. I forgot they still have more of those left. So they can knock out our Gengar here, but that's not the biggest problem in the world. We see another energy switch. So I guess they were short a little bit in damage. But, I mean, that's totally fine by us, too. One of the weaknesses of a deck like this, and one of the weaknesses of Ogerpon as a whole, is, so they get the KO here, but they already got rid of, we already got rid of, like, 3 energy earlier. There's going to be 7 in total that's in their discard pile. And they're going to have to reattach everything. Like, it's going to be a real pain for them, so it kind of works out in our favor. We can go ahead and Dark Patch. We'll place the Gastly down. And then from here, we can go Nest Ball for our Fezandipiti. We don't really need any of the rest of this. We can Earthen Vessel early, because the evolution doesn't matter. Grab ourselves 1 more energy, where we'll place that onto the Gastly, so we can try to power up that later. And we'll go Unfair Stamp. Put them down to 2 cards. They don't really have anything to really draw with outside of the Fezandipiti, where what we're really hoping for is that we can hit the boss's orders right here and just knock that out. Unfortunately, we don't, but we do get the Hand Fan, which is nice, and then even more importantly, to be honest, we get the Pokemon League headquarters, which is totally fine for us. It's just going to make it a little bit more annoying for our opponent to deal with. We can go with the Super Rod. With the Super Rod, we'll go Radiant Alakazam, the Gengar, and the Dark Energy, just to get that all back into the deck. And from here, we'll go Arven for... we can go Hand Fan. Yeah. That's fine. So we'll place the Hand Fan down. And we'll hold on to the Buddy Poffin for now. Not that it really matters, but we can go Tricky Step here. And again, we're not going to attach the energy to anything, again, because they can Happy Switch with the Blissey, or they'll just, having energy on stuff just kind of benefits the Toadscruel more than anything else, so we don't really want to do that. They get to flip the script. Fezandipiti's so good. It's like such a good Pokemon. But the benefit here is that it forces them to have to attack with Toadscruel, because there's no way that they can... Alright, never mind. I was going to say there's no way that they can attack if Pokemon League headquarters is on the field. Obviously they can now, but they're probably still going to need either a Blissey on board, which I can only assume they only run like 2 of, or they're going to need another energy switch, which they already played 3 out of the 4 that they're going to have. So we'll see. Plus, they're definitely going to need something to recycle energies, because there's already 7 in the discard. This is 10. Let's say they play 14 energy. It's like they can't have that many more. And then if they are able to, realistically, they're not going to be able to knock out Gengar anyway. Like, it's just, they're not going to have enough damage to do that. Unless they get a really big, like a really big playoff with like an energy switch and a whole bunch of other stuff. But even if they do, it's not really that big of a deal for us. We have the Ultra Ball, so we can guarantee ourselves the Radiant Alakazam to help fix damage numbers as well. And then even if they do knock us out, we get to just bring in our other Gengar. So yeah, the game's pretty much over, so our opponent's going to concede. So that's going to be game number 1. That's definitely an interesting deck that I may come back to, but I'm not really sure if having Blissey makes the deck any better than just running it with Ogerpon. I definitely have to test with it, but if you guys know or have seen the deck before, definitely let me know, because it's an interesting thing to kind of look at. But yeah, we'll jump into game number 2 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 2, and we're going to be going first we get Gastly, and we have Buddy Poffin, we have the Nest, or the Rare Candy, we have a Seal Stone if we're able to get ourselves into Rotom or a Nest Ball, which is pretty cool. The Bidoof sleeves are sick, which I wish I had those, but I don't. And I don't know how to get them. I think they were like a timed thing, like you had to get them for like an event or something, but I wouldn't know. Alright, I can play that down. Pass my turn. Very lackluster, but hopefully, like, if we can draw into like an Arven or something, that'd be huge. Fire and energy. There's a boss's orders to pull the Bidoof into the active. So we're boss trapped for a little bit, but that's okay with us. We'll pass our turn. It looks like our opponent's hand is also not very good, so this is gonna kind of come down to whoever draws better faster. Though if they get one more energy, we're, you know, actually we already have Manaphy in hand, so we're fine. There's a Gengar, which is nice. We can go Rare Candy onto our Gengar in the bench. And now, if we can find a Nest Ball, we can get our Pecharunt in, start attacking, and kind of be good from there. We'll just have to wait and see what we're able to get. There's an Ultra Ball. They get rid of a Pecharunt of their own. We can assume at this point, yeah, I was going to say, we can assume at this point that it is Charizard based on the fire energy, but, you know. They place Manaphy into the active, and honestly... Alright, so we'll go Bidoof here. Or sorry, we'll grab ourselves one more Gastly. We need to leave room on the bench, and we'll pass. Our opponent doesn't have much that they can do. We're both kind of stuck at this moment. I'm waiting on Pecharunt, and then what I'll probably end up doing is going Pecharunt down, boss's orders, pull up the Fezandipiti, attack into that, move the energy onto the Manaphy to kind of keep it stuck. And go from there. So it looks like we're both kind of just existing right now. There's the Pidgey down. Super Rod does not help me. We have to pass as well. This comes down to who, like, unbricks first. In this top deck war, one of us is going to win, and I have a feeling it's not going to be me. Alright, we see a Charmander down. A Fezandipiti of our own still does not help us. There's a Charmeleon. So they can get themselves into Charizard. Dark Patch, again, does not help us. Man, we are only getting cards that are worthless right now. So they go Rare Candy into Charizard EX. That's also fine. Honestly, that was a really bad play on their part, because what they should have done is played the Charizard EX onto the Charmeleon and held on to that Rare Candy, waiting till they can get into Pidgeot, because if they don't have an energy in hand right now, that's gonna like really hurt them in a moment, because I no longer need the Pecharunt. Like, I have Gengar in hand, so I can actually go Fezandipiti down. I can go with the Bidoof. Now what I get to do is I can go Arven, grab myself the Ooh. Do I not have any hand fans? Oh, they're all prized. That's whack. Okay. I mean, I can still go Unfair Stamp here if I really want to, but that wasn't really what my, like, desire was. Because they're already at 3 cards, but most of my hand is Dog Water. So I think that is going to be the play. I go Unfair Stamp here, put them down to 2. It's 1 less card than they already have, so, you know, who knows, maybe it's useful. And then I can attach energy to the Gastly in the back, go flip the script. That still doesn't really matter that much. The Pokemon League headquarters also doesn't really matter. But what I can do is I can go Tricky Steps here, attack into the Charizard, and move the energy onto the Manaphy. If they don't have a Fire Energy, then that's totally fine by me. It just means that I get to attack and knock this out. Yes, that will mean that they get to use their Fezandipiti to draw, but that's still okay. There's the Ultra Ball, so they find themselves Charizard. See, this is where if I had Hand Fan, it would be really good for me. Like, Hand Fan is what I really wanted. But this right here is the exact reason why, like, alright, Hand Fan would be even better, but this also works totally fine for me. What I can do is they're out of energy, pretty much. So I can go Tricky Steps here. Move another energy onto the Manaphy. And they're not going to be able to do anything, right? Like, if they manually attach an energy, they knock themselves out. So they have to pass. This is why using the Rare Candy earlier was a really, really bad play on their part. So I can play this down, I can play this down, and then what I'll be able to do is I can go for the Tricky Steps again. I can move the energy back onto the Manaphy, knocking that out, taking 2 prizes. And our opponent's going to concede. It was a huge misplay on their part, so they wouldn't be able to do anything, because they draw 1 card, draw themselves into whatever they wanted, but it wasn't going to matter. There's no way to, like, repower up their Pokemon at that point, because they wasted so much of their energy. Charizard doesn't play that many. It's one of the good things that Gengar gets to do in this matchup, is because Charizard doesn't play much energy acceleration cards outside of itself, since it automatically kind of powers itself up. They don't really play that many energy, typically like 5 or 6 in the deck, since it's a very low energy required card in the first place. So once you start like moving things off with Gengar, they're not in the discard pile, so they can't really use like a Super Rod or something. So it really hurts them. The biggest misplay though that they made was not prioritizing Pidgeot EX, since they could have gone into Charizard without using their Rare Candy. And the same situations would have played out, but you would have guaranteed yourself with the Ultra Ball that you used later on. You would have been able to guarantee yourself Pidgeot EX and been in a much stronger position to win the game. But unfortunately, they just kind of made a bad play. But that's going to be game number 2, and we'll jump into game number 3 in 1 moment, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 3, and we're going to be going first. So let's see, we are going to mulligan here. We'll see what we get. Honestly, this isn't bad. This is kind of, that works out better for us, to be honest. I mean, we don't get an energy, so we're going to be like a turn behind, but depending on matchup, that won't really matter. We see Mew EX. Ooh, we get our Bidoof. So we can go with that. Kind of hold off. We do get an energy. I'm going to actually go ahead and attach to the bench. Seeing the Mew doesn't give me enough information to really know what they want to do with that yet. It could just be used as a free retreater in like a hyper aggro deck. And so if I manually attach the energy onto the Gastly in the active, it could be knocked out and then we just lose. This is a great example. Miraidon, more likely than not, is going to attack into the Gastly and knock us out. So it's in our best interest that we don't kind of allow that to happen. Obviously, they could still look for like a Prime Catcher or something and knock out the Gastly on the bench that has the energy on it, but we have to play with we have to play where that's not obviously as likely as them just being able to like bring Raikou in and knock us out after they hit like a generator or two. If they do bring in Raikou though, pretty much what our play is going to be from there is we'll go Arven to grab ourselves Seal Stone and a Earthen Vessel. Pop one of the hand fans with Earthen Vessel. Power up the Gastly. Use the Rotom. We'll use the Seal Stone to find ourselves the Gengar. Use the Rare Candy. Evolve that. And kind of go from there. We see Squawkabilly already, so they're going to go for an aggressive hand discard, which is fine. Also, Squawkabilly being on the... Interesting they attached the Miraidon. Squawkabilly being on the bench is really nice because it does give us a target. So they had the Prime Catcher. Oh, they go Rotom right away. Wait, why? I mean, it's possible that they could knock out the Rotom. Okay, so they're going to dig deep. They're going to look for 2 generator hits to be able to knock out, to be able to put the energy on a Miraidon, use their natural retreat, and bring that in and attack into the Rotom. The fact that they didn't hit any off the research, though, pretty big. They're going to go ahead and Seal Stone for 1, which tells me they probably didn't hit one that they want, so they're going to go for hopefully 2 energy off this. If they only hit 1, that's massive for us, which is what happened, so that's huge. Kind of unlucky for them, to be honest. Bravery Charm onto the Mew. That won't matter because we will hit for weakness if it's in the active. They are going to go Raikou, draw 1 more. Even if it is a generator, we should be fine unless they have Switch in hand, which they don't. The only thing that's annoying here is that we do have to get our Pecharunt out, but that's not the biggest deal in the world since we can just go ahead and go Nest Ball. Grab the Pecharunt. And then we'll go Seal Stone, or sorry, we'll go Arven to grab ourselves. We don't have the Seal Stone. That changes things. We have to go Nest Ball. And we'll grab Evolution. We'll get rid of Evolution and 1 Hand Fan. Grab ourselves Gengar. We'll go Rare Candy. Onto Gengar. Attach the Hand Fan. We'll go Subjecting Chains. Bring Gengar in because realistically we'll live any 1 attack. So we get to put some damage down onto the Raikou. Make it so if they manually attach an energy, we'll be able to KO it by bringing in a Radiant Alakazam. The only problem that we're in now is... Alright, so... we'll get the Gnawing Curse, make that a little bit weaker. The only problem now is we're in a mode where we have to top deck into something a lot more useful. Not having the Seal Stone definitely hurt us a lot. They do need a switch card, though, to get the Raikou out of the active, which they don't do. Crazy, actually. Like, the odds on that are super low. I want to... Because of the way that happened, I'm going to go Boss's Orders here, pull up the Miraidon, and attack into that. And move the energy onto the Lumineon. That way, if they don't have an energy in hand, they can attack anyway. And even if they do, I'll be able to use the Hand Fan, move the energy off, and kind of go from there. There's the rescue board. So they can retreat the Miraidon out. They choose not to do that. Not exactly sure why. There's an energy onto the Miraidon. Gnawing Curse. So, I mean, we eat the damage. We get to Hand Fan. We'll throw that onto the Lumineon as well. If we can get ourselves into... No, just another Gengar. I was going to say, one of the things that'd be really nice here, we'll go Town Store. We'll grab the Devolution just to, like, thin our deck out a little bit. If we were able to get into Radiant Alakazam here, that would be super sick. But, obviously, we cannot. So, we're going to go Tricky Steps. Knock out the Miraidon. Move the energy to the Lumineon all over again. And take 2 prizes. Okay, the Seal Stone's totally fine with us. As well as the Dark Patch, honestly. Because, realistically, our Gengar is probably going to get knocked out soon. It doesn't have much health left to really work with. Unless they go Hyper Blower. We'll just go Pecharunt. Honestly. If this gets knocked out, we don't really care that much. Our opponent definitely got unlucky. Like, in the Charizard game, our opponent played bad, but in this one, I feel like they definitely got unlucky, though they definitely still did not make the best choices that they could have. There's the Gnawing Curse. They're so lucky we don't have a second Gengar. There's an Arven for an electric generator. They'll definitely hit, probably 2. Only 1. So they can retreat and bring Raikou in here. They go Town Store. What else would they... Yeah, I was going to say, they shouldn't have any other item cards. Or not items, sorry, tool cards. They are able to knock out the Pecharunt. But, again, that's totally fine with us. We don't really lose anything by having that happen. We even get Fezandipiti, which is pretty sweet, actually. We get to go Seal Stone. What we'll do is go flip the script first, see what we're able to find. We get ourselves another Gastly, and we do get Haunter. We can go ahead and play that down. We... We'll go Star Alchemy here. And we could grab the... I'm gonna go Boss's Orders here. Is that being too greedy? Actually. I think this is the best play I can make. So I go Unfair Stamp here, put them down to 2 cards, I knock out the Raikou, and kind of low-key cripple them from there. And then I have Nest Ball after the fact. Yeah. Then I have Nest Ball after the fact if I need it for something else. We'll throw another energy onto the Lumineon. Take 2 more prizes. There's an Iono and the Ultra Ball. I can use the Ultra Ball to get myself a new Gengar. Or I can honestly just Night Stretcher to it. And then we're looking for an Energy and Janine Secret Arts. And that's only if they even knock me out this turn, which honestly they probably can't. Because they'd need 2 hits off this and a double colorless energy. And let's assume they only run like 1 double turbo, maybe 2. With 7 energy in the discard pile and 5 on board. Yeah, I really think this game is over. Even if they go Fezandipiti here and draw, there's no shot that they get anything powered up. And they used 1, 2, 3 generators. So they'd have to find another generator, hit 2 off that, and then attach for turn. Like, there's no way. And they just discarded another. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. How many energy do they play in the deck? And they manually attached, so they couldn't attach a double colorless, so they have to hit a generator for 2 energy. So their best play here is to look for like a super rod. Okay, so they want to give up 1 prize on this turn. Do I should have another boss's orders in the deck, but this will be the easiest way to check. I do. So I can Radiant Alakazam. Do I have anything? No. So I think what my play is going to be here is I'm going to go Ultra Ball. I can get rid of this at this point. I can get rid of the Rare Candy at this point as well. Grab myself a barrel. Because if I get my boss's orders, I win the game. So I don't really care about this and this. I don't really care about the Iono either, though. Get rid of the Iono. I'll keep the Night Stretcher. We'll grab the Gengar. That way I can evolve that and just take cards out of my hand. I don't really need this, so I'm just gonna... Yeah, whatever. I can go Bibarel here. Fortunately, I don't get what I was looking for, but I can go Arven and grab... There's really nothing that I'll need, but we'll get Dark Patch for now. Yeah, pretty much. The unfortunate play at this point is like, I have to KO this. Draw for turn. Okay, the Pokemon League headquarters is also fine. That pretty much wins me the game. Because let's assume they have double colorless in hand at this point. That'll be the last of their remaining energy. They play that down, they attack into us. What we can do is we can lead Fezandipiti. Yeah, so there's the double colorless. We'll knock that off with the hand fan. Yeah, so the game's over. Even when they take 3 prizes here, it won't matter. Because we win on the next turn. They flip the script. Because there's nothing they can do. Because they won't even have this on the bench to attach to anyway. So they go, amp you very much. We take the double turbo. We throw it onto the Lumineon in the back. They take 3 prizes, which obviously is sub-ideal, but that's okay. What we can do from here is go Fezandipiti. We draw into Gengar, obviously not very important. We Dark Patch. Play this down. Go headquarters. We'll draw 1 with Industrious Incisor. It is a de-evolution, so nothing all that relevant. We'll flip the script. We somehow didn't draw into a single energy. That's kind of crazy, to be honest. We'll go Subjugating Chains. Just to bring Gengar in. Yes, it will get a little bit weaker, but it doesn't really matter all that much. And in a case like this, we can literally just go instant charge again. Alright, and there's the energy we need. That does close out the game, because at bare minimum, even if we weren't going to knock out this, which obviously we can go Boss's Orders and pull up the Mew. It's 1 turn longer than it should be, and it does put us in a slightly stressful situation under the idea that if they have an energy in hand and a Boss's Orders, they can pull up like a Radiant Alakazam. If they can clear, they need an energy in hand, a Boss's Orders, and a way to clear the Pokemon League headquarters. If they can do all of that, then they can win. There's a Switch card to heal. An Electric Generator, which, yeah, I was going to say, they shouldn't be able to hit, so they need the energy in hand. Because there's no more energy in their deck. There's already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. What is that, 14 energy? So that's going to be everything they have. I'm surprised I don't see a Super Rod, though. So they did have it in hand. Unless their Super Rod is this last remaining prize card, it's very confusing to me that they wouldn't have Super Rodded and then gone Electric Generator. But they still haven't played it, so maybe they just don't run one at all. I'm really not sure. They put Lumineon in the active. Just, again, to kind of function as a wall. Which doesn't matter to us. So last turn, a little bit stressful, but we got slightly unlucky with our kind of overall damage. We can actually just knock this out because we can go Radiant Alakazam, so it doesn't make a difference. But we'll just be annoying and boss up the Mew. So we can hit that for weakness because it's fun. But yeah, that's going to be game number 3. I got to show off the tricky steps a little bit and how kind of broken it is. in certain matchups and when things go right. So I'm happy with that overall. But yeah, that's going to be game number 3, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to let me know what you want to see next on the channel and things like that. I know there's some other requests. We'll definitely get to them. But be sure to let me know what you want to see when the new set comes out in just a couple days. I'm going to be working a little bit harder to make sure that I'm getting content a little bit more consistently. I know I say that all the time, but, you know, life is very busy. You know, college classes just started back up again, and so all that kind of stuff takes a lot of time out of your life and day, especially as an adult in college. It's a little rough, but that being said, there's always going to be time to make videos, even if they're a little bit slower than normal, or maybe a little bit shorter in the future for a little bit. But overall, thank you guys so much for watching. Love doing it, and I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.